absolutely banging Champions League tie on the horizon, guys. Liverpool versus Real Madrid at Anfield. Revenge time, possibly. Liverpool have obviously struggled to get past Real Madrid over the years. In particular, of course, this is a rerun of the final last year. And Real Madrid have certain elements that are very, very similar, I think, when I'm kind of diving into them. This Liverpool side has had a sort of tumultuous season so far, but they're kind of getting back off their knees a little bit. I think if this was played a couple of weeks ago, you'd be really worried about Liverpool. Although you felt a little bit different. We can come to that. But the confidence level of this Liverpool side, you're at the game at the weekend. Are you seeing a different Liverpool to what we've seen over the season? Because it's been pretty clunky so far.
Yeah, that's a good word to use, like clunky. But they just found a little bit of rhythm, I think, the weekend. You can see the movements, the patterns are starting to come. Obviously, they've got new players. You've got to think of Gakpo and people are getting used to their movements. They're different from the Mane's type of players. And so that does take time, I get that. And obviously, they're coming to a team that was struggling a little bit. But I just see little signs, of little things that are happening. You're thinking, they're getting they create loads of chances. They're just obviously not putting a lot of them away. But yeah, I just see little things that they're getting back to their best. The energy looked good. They looked a little bit refreshed. Newcastle, even like people like Jordan Henderson who have 33s or whatever they are, they look like they had the legs again to keep going. So yeah, I see good signs coming, like you say, and it's a good time. It's now the time of the season where you need momentum and players fresh. And I think you mentioned about Virgil's injury and coming back. I think he's come back at a great time because the defence looks so much solid when he's in the middle of it.
You watch Liverpool in more detail than anyone I know. So how are you feeling about them? Because I know it's not always been a nice conversation when I sort of throw stuff to you over the weeks when it comes to Liverpool. Does it feel better?
I think they're in.
Are you scared to believe?
No, I think they're just in a position where they're going, we've started the season terribly. It's not just going to turn around overnight. Liverpool are not going to beat Everton 2-0 and actually beat them brilliantly 2-0. They're not going to beat Newcastle 2-0 and do the same. So I think when it comes into this Madrid game, because Madrid have this Champions League thing about them, I feel like Liverpool are going to bed going, oh man, if they just turn up and just fancy it on the day, we can't do anything. And that's a Liverpool side that aren't at their best. When Liverpool have been at their best, Madrid have still parked them aside and gone, we've won this game. That's the worry with Madrid.
Yeah. I guess that's the sort. They have if you're playing top trumps and you're playing Liverpool and you're going, quality in the Champions League, the only thing that's going to beat Liverpool is Real Madrid. Right?
The final was like that.
Yeah.
I think I went the final. Obviously, I don't know if you went or you've seen it, but Liverpool were creating loads of chances. Keepers had a well beaten. You're thinking, Real Madrid are going to win this. They just have this thing with the Champions League. They'll win, and they've got sort of one chance to miss it shot and they score and win it. You're thinking, have Liverpool lost that game? But it's just the big night, innit? The big games, they sort of turn up and they just sort of thrive on the occasion. But Anfield's difficult for them, but
they do seem to be able to keep calm, carry on. Like even the game at the weekend against Osasuna, they had the same amount of shots as Osasuna. Benzema was out of that game. They played Rodrigo up front instead, which I think was to kind of get themselves ready for the possibility of needing him to play in that position. Didn't really work at all. I think he had 26 touches, 10 touches in the first half. Didn't really get involved that much. And it looks like Benzema will be fit actually for this one, which is going to be huge. He's so important. Yeah, of course he is. But what they did do is they kept going quite calmly and got themselves over the line. And it's that, isn't it? And which is as much the sort of history of Real Madrid, but it's the players within it as well. That a 35-year-old Benzema, Modric, Toni Kroos, who's actually going to be missing for this game quite possibly. He's not been well. Neither was Tchouaméni as well. But regardless of that, they always seem to find a way and find a threat. And do they go into this game with any kind of doubt, or did they just rely upon all of that stuff I've just said?
I think Madrid are probably a massive anomaly when it comes to football teams. I think recent form goes out the window when you play against Madrid. Previous meetings goes out the window when you play against Madrid. I think they come into every game and go, we're Real Madrid. And there's not many teams that have that type of arrogance. Maybe Fergie's Manchester United back in the days had that. So I think Liverpool come into this game probably more so going, if we can keep them out for a little while and get a couple of goals, we put ourselves in a good situation. Yeah. Madrid have been poor defensively, by the way. And I said just off air that I would have preferred to play them 3 weeks ago when Liverpool were playing worse, because they were playing worse than they lose to Mallorca.
Worse.
I just wonder though, if you're a Liverpool player, when you go into a game against a team that you've lost against multiple times and on big occasions, does that live in your head?
Yeah, I think you can think about that. I think, like you said, especially the prestige of Real Madrid. And if it's like another team, you always get a bogey ground anywhere you go, and you think, we'd never play well here. We don't.
Do you feel like that before game or in game more? Do you know what I mean?
I think. If you're playing well in the game and then something turns, you're thinking, here we go again.
Yeah.
Things could just happen, like you said. Liverpool could have all the play. You can imagine the crowd are going to get up. Probably the first half an hour they're going to be at it, and then Real Madrid might just get that little chance. It might be 0-0, and you're thinking, they're still here. They'll always let you know they're in the game, and like you said, it doesn't matter how they play. They have big players who can turn up on big games.
Yeah. I want to talk about Vinicius Jr. and actually the whole setup really of Real Madrid. But first, I do want to talk about Liverpool and how they have sort of found something. The thing that I quite liked about them, it's something actually I sort of tore apart initially, was this idea. It almost looked like they had a double pivot, which is not something that they normally do. But the personnel that they've got there in Fabinho and in Balcetic, that I now get it a little bit more. Also, the front three felt like they clicked a lot more in terms of the 2 goals. Gakpo, great finish from him. But actually, I really like the Nunez goal from the point of view that they created such an overload on that right-hand side. And Gakpo felt confident coming to get it. And all of a sudden, this debate about Nunez being a left winger or a left-sided forward or a centre forward, in that moment, he was able to kind of be a bit of both, and then was able to be that, almost a number 9 all of a sudden, that Mane role a little bit. But to give themselves that coverage of Robertson and Trent by having those Fabinho dealing with Trent and Balcetic, and the fact that he can get all over the pitch so well, and in particular look after Robertson, I think that's given him a new security, and it's allowed them to sort of get, as I say, I keep using this phrase, sort of get off their knees a little bit, just to kind of have a bit of a stronger base. And when I come back to Real Madrid, the big thing here is Benzema, if he plays, if he gets a chance, he takes those chances. He's so clutch. But Vinicius Jr. against Trent is something that I think, again, a few weeks ago, I would have gone, I'd be really worried, because I don't think they've got the press in them, Liverpool, and I don't think they've got the sort of safety net there. But now with those two, and what a huge game for Balcetic at his age to go up against the players that he's going to be going up against. But I wonder if Fabinho is actually a really, really important part of this in terms of safeguarding Trent. Nubaid, how do you feel about Vinicius Jr. and Trent? Because Vinicius Jr. is pretty frightening on that left-hand side, and was so last year as well.
I think, actually, Henderson's massive in this game, I think Klopp's almost gone, Balcetic, you can be our legs, because we've always had legs in midfield, and no one else can run. Fabinho, you can be the one that sweeps, just clean up the dirt that's around him. And Hendo, you go and look after Trent. You go and play on that inside half space where we sort of like started to force Trent into that area where we were sort of going, we love you as a right back, but we're going to play you as a right-sided midfielder stroke right back. On the weekend and against Everton, Liverpool said, go and play wide. Now that bodes well if you're attacking. I don't know how well that bodes when you're going the other way, because Vinicius cheats. He's an old-fashioned winger. He just stands with his arms on his waist and
they're not afraid to play that pass either. Eder Militao in particular, the right-sided centre back in the last game, I think it was. He's always looking for that diagonal ball, which
I think that the big thing there for Liverpool will be Darwin. I honestly feel like Klopp's gone, we know how it works with Mane, Firmino, Salah. Darwin, you're going to have to become Mane, because I don't know the other way to do it. And I think he's gone, you're going to become the inside forward for us, because you've got the explosiveness and you've got the pressing ability. Madrid don't even play down the right side. So he's going to have to go and close down Militao. And any time you get a chance to set them off on the other side, that's where you go. The whole game is going to get played down Liverpool's right, Madrid's left. And it's just going to be hammer and tong. So Darwin's going to be pressing Eder Militao, make sure the ball doesn't go out. And then when Cruz is out, then sort of forces Madrid to start to play through the lines, and then the game becomes a bit more clogged up, and that's where it might suit Liverpool.
So with it being all down that right-hand side with Trent, Henderson, Firmino, but I guess importantly it's that switch as well that's available there, and Robertson getting up high. Going back to that goal that I was talking about, if Robertson isn't as high and wide as he is, Trippier, you see him go, I think Trent's about to ping it to Robertson, so he goes a couple of yards, and then there's this big space here for Darwin Nunez. Do you think that the game will actually be won on the other side of the pitch, or do you think they'll cancel each other out a little bit in this one?
Well, Robinson's obviously always a threat. Even that game that Newcastle said, I remember that vision in my head of thinking he could actually hit it to Robinson, he could actually hit it in behind. And that's what they do. They're playing between people, so it's very difficult to mark. And you see Trippier's body language, he's a little bit, he puts his hand up, he thinks he's offside, he's caught in between. So Liverpool always give you that threat, because Salah's the same as what you're saying, Vinicius. He sort of cheats, doesn't he? He leaves Trent a little bit stranded at times. I know we give Trent a bit of stick about his defending, but sometimes he's 2v1 a lot of the times. But Maximin was doing the same for Newcastle at the weekend. He was cheating. So wingers tend to do that a little bit and test you. And are you going to go? Are you not going to go? And it's a little bit caught in between. But yeah, I wouldn't rule out, Robinson getting space down that side. I know we keep turning over the right hand side, but you never know. Klopp might just think on reverse bit of it. I know we're doing this, but don't forget we've got that there where Robinson can actually be an outlet as well.
I mean, you've got Fede Valverde that side who just loves to run.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the problem when you play against Madrid. They've got all the quality, and then they have these sort of like players that just plug gaps everywhere to allow the quality to go. So, yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Yes, it does feel like that a little bit. Valverde's gone up a level this year as well, in terms of, and also his output as well. I think Ancelotti was saying something about how I'll leave the job if he doesn't get 10 goals this year, or something like that. Right? There was a little sort of agreement that he needed to be getting double figures. I think he had 10 in like the first 11 games or something. He was on fire right at the start. Yeah. So Ferland Mendy is injured for this one. David Alaba, it looks like he's going to be the left back as well. So when you're thinking about that clogged left or right hand side, I'm really intrigued to see. I think it comes down to those two things: that switch, and I do think Darwin Núñez has got a really huge part to play in this one. But also Vinicius Jr, the two areas that we've really spoken about. Give me a prediction for the game and then the tie as a whole. I'll go first. I think that Liverpool might just sneak this one, maybe 2-1. I think Real Madrid will have a bit too much in the second leg and will go through. That's my prediction.
I'm going to go Liverpool to go through. I just think that they'll need a little bit of a cushion to go to the Bernabeu. I think they'll need 2-0. If it's 1-0 and you go to the Bernabeu, it's difficult, I think, because like you said, they'll always create chances. I'll go Liverpool 2-0 and just about get through.
Benzema's not fully fit, even if he is
massive,
playing, that is so huge, isn't it? Yeah. What do you think, Nubaid?
Probably go. I was thinking the same. Liverpool 2-1 at home. I don't think Madrid won't score because they often do in Champions League games, and I think it'll be 2-1 in the second leg as well. But I think Madrid will win it next time.
Okay. Guys, let us know how you're feeling about this one. Yeah, it's going to be a great tie. We know that, but who will go through, Real Madrid or Liverpool? Let us know.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.